In fairness to my colleagues in government in Edinburgh, it is quite hard to look fresh and new when you've been in government for 15 years. It was easier for us to look fresh and new and competent in 2014, although a lot of work went into that under the Salmond administration to being competent. I need to tell you that, Geoff. So it is hard to look fresh and new and competent, and I think the Tories do. The Tories sometimes over-exaggerate problems in Scottish domestic policy, and mirror images can be found in many aspects of English domestic policy. But what voters in Scotland care about is the domestic policies that are affecting them and their families. So I do think that the party needs a huge reset on its approach to domestic policy. And I'm afraid to say that not afraid to say, I'm happy to say that I'm in the camp of the party. I'm not really in the same camp as Fergus Ewing, because Fergus would be more to the right than me in economics. I'd be more to the left. But I agree with Fergus and some of my colleagues that really the green tail wagging the SNP dog has to stop, because we seem to have been landed with some really poor policies, the fishing issue, the deposit return scheme, that are poorly thought through and poorly executed. It's not that there aren't good intentions behind these policies. Of course there are, but that's not good enough. And I think, evidence-based policy making is something that the SNP really needs to get back to, rather than ideology-based policy making. There is a bit of a connection between our problems on domestic policy and our failure to answer these big questions on independence that we're talking about a minute ago. It's a sort of intellectual failure. The party's intellectually dead from the neck up at the moment. It was not being allowed to have an intellectual debate for years. It's been frowned upon, rubbished, marginalised. Fortunately, there are people within the party and many organisations out with the party but that have connections with the party, for example, the Commonweal think tank, that have been thinking very hard on some policy areas.